Hi, welcome to my woolly PhD. This is a very disorganised Liz scarf with a weekly vlog about, only disorganised today, weekly vlog about my PhD in anthropology, all about wool, and looking at what am I learning and making this week. Now this week has been an interesting week. I am in 1 hour, I'm heading to the airport to fly to Iceland for my first fieldwork trip, and that's why I'm a bit disorganised, because I'm being very hyper organised of so many things. But I did have something I was thinking about and an article to share. Anyway, so if you've been following along for a while, you know that I've been working on the PhD vest by Gudrun Johnson, and it's a colour work, kind of a slightly feral colour work, I guess it's feral, vest. Anyway, I really wanted to finish it before I went. And one of the reasons I really wanted to finish it, because I wanted to wear it, but was I had in my mind these ideas that I would only knit traditional Icelandic things when in Iceland, right? And that I would have a couple of transitional items to knit on the plane, because if you're a knitter, you know generally you hate being on planes without a knitting project. So I got 2 projects for that. But otherwise, everything else was finished up, right? So no existing projects. And I had kind of constructed this as being important symbolically somehow, right? And so it made me start thinking about, like, why am I so hung up about this? And so it made me start thinking also about some of the things I've been reading and seeing, and these ideas about, I think I've sort of spoken about this before too, right? But the ideas we have about a place that we've never been to, based on how that place is kind of, how it markets itself, but also the narratives that the rest of the world or outside populations sort of take up and keep repeating and asking that culture to perform, right? So I think I like many people, kind of had this, Icelanders only knit traditional Icelandic things. And I had seen a photo of somebody who I know to be very much in the sort of handcraft wool knitting kind of sector, wearing a sweater on social media that like wasn't an Icelandic sweater. I remember thinking, what's going on? So anyway, of course, and it also got me thinking, wow, am I going to be able to sort of tolerate only knitting Icelandic things when there's many other things that I want to knit? And it made me start thinking about processes of globalization, right, and how these impact cultures. And this is not going to be a big thing about globalization. I'm going to have to save that for another day when I've got more behind me in terms of what to say, because this week I'm a little off the cuff. But it did make me think about exposure, right? So the more that we're exposed to difference, potentially the way it can make us want to do or have different things than what we already have, and the way that that things that were used to be the norm, what we might call traditional, right, become a little, we experience them differently when we see other options. But if we don't have any other options, we must experience them in a way that is maybe, it's totally fine, it's just what we do. But when we see other options, maybe we start to kind of critique, or we might get further away or closer to those things that we've always been doing. So it did make me start thinking, I had already been thinking a little bit, but not using my own kind of uptightness about what am I knitting, but about the way in which wool and knitting not just mediates, but is like a place where we can look at globalization and the impacts of globalization in Iceland. So that's very interesting to me. And also, there's also the article I wanted to recommend you read too. It's called A Nation in a Sheep's Coat, the Icelandic Sweater, and it's by Gudrun Helgadottir. Now, I don't know, I'll have to check. I don't know if it's open access or not. I have a feeling it might be. Anyway, it's an excellent article if you are interested in the Lopapeysa sweater, the traditional Icelandic sweater. It covers so many really interesting aspects. I've learned a lot from it, and I don't know if I'll get to meet Gudrun when I'm away, but I'd like to. Anyway, she says in here, Icelandic sweaters destined for export are usually knitted in natural colours. while sweaters intended for domestic use employ a wider range of colours. It says this is tantalising as it suggests that notions of authenticity are promoted in the public sphere, but that the private sphere is less orthodox and allows for greater experimentation. And I think that is really, really interesting. What is the difference between what the rest of the world thinks Icelanders knit and what they do knit, and what that encodes in terms of a cultural process? Anyway, that's what I've been thinking about this week when I have had a moment to think outside of packing and just, I don't know if you've ever packed up your life to live overseas for a long time. I've never done it for this long. It's 4 months. I'll be away 5 months. Anyway, it's been a bit. So, but that's what I've been thinking about. What have I been making? I can't show you anything I've been making because it's all packed. But I have nearly finished all the colour work for the vest. So it's a steeped thing, so I'm kind of almost up to here. I've got I actually went one row too long. I've got to pick it back. But that's going really well. But it's all packed up and I am going to finish it when I'm there. And I think that's all I worked on. I feel like I must have something else I've been doing. Probably packing is enough. Packing has been a bit of not a disaster, but a bit of a blow. I was well overweight with the things I was taking, and some things that are not coming. Should have prepared this earlier. I bought this amazing light therapy lamp because I get really depressed there apparently in winter, and as someone who's not used to it, I thought I'm fairly at risk. So I thought, I will take a lamp. I can't take the lamp. It's way too heavy in so many things I'm having to leave behind. Anyway, I'm leaving a box of things that hopefully my partner comes to visit midway through and might bring me some of the stuff. Anyway, so that's been a bit disappointing. But in the scheme of things, it's fine. I know I'll be able to get them there. It's just, it's a very expensive country. So I thought, if anything I can get here and take with me, that would be great. But there you go. So I feel like I had something else I was going to mention. No, anyway, so this is my last video in Australia for 5 months. And next week I will be in Reykjavik doing the video. And my first day, I got to get to the Department of Immigration and try to get all my permissions sorted for being there for that long. And then I'm going to the Hand Knitters Association and I'm going to get myself some wool, Icelandic lopa, and I'm going to knit a pattern to knit a really chunky, thick lopa pacer, because I'm taking one sweater with me and it's quite thin, and so I'm really going to need something really quick. And I love this idea of, I've never knitted out of necessity before, and it's not really necessity. I can go buy something, right, if I had to, but I don't know, there was something. I'm really looking forward to that first knit, and then I think I'm going to work on a cardigan maybe. But on the plane on the way over, I am working on my convertible beanie balaclava. I'm not taking any other beanies with me, so hopefully I get that finished on the plane, because I think average high at the moment in Iceland is between 10 and 14 degrees. So anyway, I'm going to have a rude climate shock for a while. But yeah, I will update you on that as I go. Yeah, I think that's it. A very short one this week. But yeah, I will see you on the other side. Thanks for watching. And yeah, take care. Bye.